It's really worth buying an Italian house for €1, or it's a risky gamble you're better off avoiding. In this video, you'll discover the real pros and cons of this initiative, which attracts people from all over the world, but also hides some pitfalls. At the end, I'll share my personal opinion. For those who don't know, €1 houses are very old, abandoned properties put up for sale by small Italian towns struggling with depopulation. The homes are transferred at the symbolic price of €1, as long as the buyer commits to renovating them with a set period of time. The goal is to attract buyers, repopulate abandoned areas, boost the local economy, and save buildings that in some cases are on the verge of collapse. The first advantage of this investment is, of course, the purchase price. If you're wondering, I can confirm that the cost of the property really is €1. In the Italian housing market, there's no other type of investment with such a low entry point. Not even auction properties, which you can also find here. Traditional real estate prices, especially in big cities or tourist destinations, are often high and out of reach for many. By contrast, this initiative at first glance looks truly affordable for almost anyone. The symbolic price of €1 is the key element that attracts foreign investors. But, as we'll see, it's only the beginning of a much longer list of expenses, which I'll go over shortly. The second advantage has to do with the location of some of these homes. A number of €1 houses are found in charming villages in northern, central, and southern Italy, set in beautiful landscapes and rich in history and traditions. For an investor, this means being able to acquire a property at a symbolic price in an authentic and peaceful setting, far from the mass tourism of big cities. Some examples are Albugnano in Piedmont, Cantiano in Marche, Castropignano in Molise, Graffignano in Lazio, and Piazza Armerina in Sicily. The list is long and includes villages across all Italian regions. In short, this initiative doesn't just offer the chance to invest in places of great beauty and authenticity. It also allows you to contribute to reviving historic communities at risk of disappearing. That said, in my view, the real advantage of €1 houses ends here. So it's time to move on to the downsides. The first drawback is the bureaucracy complexity of the initiative, which can easily turn a dream into an obstacle course. Unlike traditional property transactions, where buyer and seller agree on the terms, often with the help of a real estate agent, here the process is completely different. The sale is managed directly by the municipalities through public tenders, which set the rules and procedures to follow. There are multiple administrative steps, each requiring different documents and timelines, often overseen by different offices. The paperwork is written in bureaucratic Italian, and local staff rarely speak English. For a foreigner, taking part in the program without the help of a qualified consultant, such as a lawyer or accountant, is nearly impossible. Bureaucracy is the most complex part of the €1 house project, and it's the first thing that discourages many potential investors. The second drawback concerns the total cost of the investment, which almost always turn out much higher than expected. After the symbolic purchase at €1, you'll face a long list of extra expenses, including taxes connected to the property transfer, the notary's fee, which is mandatory in all Italian sales, possible building amnesties if the property has irregularities, the renovation project, including professional fees, the required permits for construction, and, of course, the renovation costs themselves. On top of this, you'll need to factor in the consultant's fees, if you hire one to guide you through the process, as well as travel expenses to Italy. Renovation is by far the biggest cost. Most €1 homes are in terrible condition. Roofs and systems need replacing, walls need repairs, and in some cases there are serious structural issues requiring expensive safety work. Many buyers, attracted by the idea of a €1 home, often hyped by international media or TV shows, underestimate the costs of making the house livable and realize too late how much renovation really costs. The €1 price is only symbolic. The real investment is much higher. Renovation can run into tens or even hundreds of thousands of euros, depending on the property's size and condition. The third drawback is about risk control, a key concept in any investment. Generally, having more control means you have a better chance of ensuring your investment's success. In a free market purchase, the buyer can agree with the seller on the timeline, and most importantly, decide if and when to renovate, how to organize the work, and manage the schedule based on personal needs. With €1 houses, however, deadlines are imposed by the municipality. The strictest requirements are the start and end dates of renovation. Work must begin with a few months of being assigned the property and be completed within 1 to 3 years. Failing to meet these obligations can bring heavy consequences, such as financial penalties and losing ownership of the house. In practice, you have very limited control over the investment, which increases the risks and the chances of losing money. The fourth disadvantage relates to the location of many properties. Most €1 homes are in remote areas, far from major services, often without public transport, and reachable only by narrow, poorly maintained roads. Living without a car is nearly impossible, and essential services are rarely nearby. To shop for groceries or eat out, you'll usually need to reach larger towns, which may be several kilometers away. Poor accessibility also makes it harder to turn the property into a B&B. Accommodations in remote, poorly connected areas attract fewer visitors, limiting income potential. Isolation complicates renovation too. There's often little local labor available, and transporting materials and equipment is more difficult, leading to longer timelines and higher costs. To recap, those are the pros and cons of Italy's €1 homes. The real question is whether it's really worth buying one, or if it's better to walk away. In my opinion, in most cases, it's not worth it. Compared to a traditional sale, the risks are much higher, as I've explained. The program is complicated even for Italians. For a foreign buyer, the difficulties multiply. Even if you hire a local consultant to guide you through the tender, the toughest part remains: renovation. Between complex bureaucracy, strict deadlines, soaring renovation costs, required trips to monitor the work site, and the risk of financial penalties or even losing the property, the investment becomes much more costly and risky than many international media outlets suggest. At this point, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Considering that in the traditional market you can find plenty of homes ready to move into, at all price points, often in good condition and in well-serviced areas, then maybe the €1 house initiative loses much of its appeal. As we say in Italy, il gioco non vale la candela. Personally, I would only consider buying a €1 house if the risks were minimized, meaning certain conditions are met. First, the property should have no structural problems, so you avoid complex, costly safety work. Second, the renovation deadline should be at least 3 years, instead of just 1 as required in some tenders, giving you more time to plan and complete the work. Finally, there should be no penalties for delays, as some towns currently impose. That said, the fact remains: if the renovation isn't completed on time, the house reverts to the municipality. You lose both the money you invested and the property itself. Like with any real estate investment, risks can't be eliminated entirely. Let me know in the comments what you think of this initiative, and check the description, where you'll find my video with everything you need to know about buying a home in Italy. Ciao!